from McFlex. What are the benefits of strength training when battling depression and anxiety?
Oh, wow. So first I want to preface this by saying that we're not doctors.
Therapists.
Or therapists. But I'm going to speak from just experience from working with clients and also working with clients' doctors I trained clients for years, and oftentimes when they had a situation pop up that would come up in their questionnaire, I would contact their doctor, and then we would kind of work together. Now, the studies are pretty clear now that any kind of physical activity or exercise has a very positive effect on anxiety and low to moderate types of depression. In fact, in head-to-head comparisons against some of the most popular antidepressant medications, exercise is as good in the medium term, and in the long term, some studies even say that exercise is more effective. So it's definitely something that is extremely effective. Now, the problem, of course, is if I'm depressed and anxious, the last thing I want to do is go exercise. So it's kind of like, okay, like which one do I do first? Like I got to get rid of this, and this is how I get rid of it. But now because I feel this way, I don't want to go exercise. So that's the hard part. But let's just say that you can will yourself to get to a gym or start being exercise. Number one, any type of activity should have as long as it's appropriate, should have a positive effect on both anxiety and depression. That being said, I will make the case that strength training is the best form of exercise for these things for a few different reasons. One, resistance training when done properly, has a very positive effect on hormones, and we know the role that hormones play in how we feel. So in men, resistance training has been shown to raise low levels of testosterone. Low levels of testosterone definitely can cause depression or anxiety in men. In women, resistance training, when done appropriately, is a more effective way of balancing out your progesterone and estrogen balance, which when that's out, it can cause anxiety or depression. Resistance training also is pro-muscle, pro-tissue. Your body it actually starts to burn more calories as a result, and that just tends to feel good. When a body becomes efficient with calories and slows itself down, as is the case with lots and lots of cardio, over time, this is just my own observation, over time, that can start to make you feel a little bit depressed because your energy is lower. Your body's becoming more efficient with calories, burning less calories. You may find that you have less energy. Strength training, when done properly, is very invigorating for the body. And it's also complex. It requires you to be present more than other forms of exercise, which tend to be repetitive. Like if I'm riding a bike or walking.
Yeah, riding a bike for an hour it could really make you sit in your depression a lot more.
You could sit in your looping thoughts, but when you're lifting weights properly,
especially strength training.
Yeah, you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention.
Yeah, back squat 200 pounds and think about how depressed you are.
Yeah, you're focused.
That's hard to do.
And it's also extremely, empowering.
Yeah.
If you go to the gym, let's say you're feeling down or whatever, but you're like, I'm willing myself to work out. I'm going to work out. I'm going to do it properly. Let's say you follow MAPS or you have a trainer, so you know what you're doing is right. You go to the gym, and let's say today I did, 100 pounds on the bench press, or I did, 7 push-ups. Say I did 7 push-ups. I come to the gym tomorrow, I did 9 push-ups. Then I come back, 3 days later, I did 12 push-ups. It's hard not to recognize the connection between the work and the progress. It's very, very clear with strength training. I'm getting stronger, and then of course
you're improving.
And that makes you feel good because you hard work, result. That's like a great combination right there.
Now, I want to add to that, and again, not a therapist by any means, although I've experienced feeling like this, especially in the last couple of years of coming off the testosterone, and this is close to home for me. And one of the things, though, that I want to add to the point that Sal made is that I do agree that strength training, of all the things that I was working on during this time, was one of the number one things that helped me through it. But I also had to be okay with the fact that I might go to the gym today and it may be all yoga. Because here's the thing, when you get caught in a depression loop or have a ton of anxiety and stress going on in your life, and then you also know that a heavy, squat session is ahead of you today, sometimes I just didn't have it in me to do it. And so I had to be okay with sometimes doing a workout that was less strength focused and more recuperative, or working in where maybe it was sauna and stretching that day, or it was all mobility work, or I just didn't quite have it in me to get after it. And so then I would just chase a pump and call it a day. It's okay that too, but nothing I think will physically benefit you more in the gym than strength training. But also know that you don't have to put so much pressure on yourself that I've got to go in there, and because that's hard sometimes when you're in that place to get the muster to get up and go get after it like you can do. And so I had set for myself personal goals, and I would recommend the same thing for a client that was going through this. For me, who was used to training 6-7 days a week consistently, I told myself, listen, if I can get it in there and I could give myself 3 good lift days, of course my goal is to go every day still, but as long as I get 2 to 3 good lifting days, that's an accomplished week for me. And so a lot of times I would go to the gym and it wouldn't be a hard, heavy day, but I'd still make sure that 2 or 3 days of the week I was doing that.
Yeah, I'm definitely not I'm going to put out a disclaimer as well. But I know that too. Just a lot of times there's that internal chatter, and there's all this like excess of energy that needs to be expended. That your body a lot of times like it just wants to get rid of it, and that feeling of exhaustion. A lot of times it helps to then like limit a lot of that excess amount of energy that's just stored in your body that like makes its way up into your thoughts. And I think that just to be able to expel that too, it definitely has its own benefits on its own.
Yeah, there's when you look at exercise and you look at the literature on exercise, and this is just from my understanding in depression, anxiety, you have the acute effects where right after the workout you tend to feel a little bit of a mood lift and you feel a little bit better. When we look at strength training versus aerobic activity, they're pretty equal there with the acute effects. Now, the long-term effects, I'll argue resistance training is better, mainly because of my experience training clients and seeing how strength training just has better long-term effects on people generally anyway. Again, it speeds up the metabolism. It's very individualized. You can train your resistance training according to your goals, whereas with cardiovascular activity, you tend to be stuck in the same, repetitive motion or whatever. It's pro-anabolic hormone. It's pro-tissue, which is muscle. And so long term is where I'll argue that strength training
it's also
probably shines.
I think it shines even more head to head, like you said. I think that it's pro posture, and we know the connection that posture has with like depression.
That feedback, right?
Yeah. A lot of times when you see someone who's depressed, you can see it in their posture.
Definitely,
their head is down, they're slouched way forward. Man, you get a great workout. How many of you ever walked out of the gym slouching over? You feel
no, your chest is up.
You feel more upright than you felt all day after a workout, and that definitely has got to feed into feeling better also. So I would make the case, Sal, that it's even better than cardio because you could run on a treadmill or slouch over a Stairmaster for an hour,
strengthen that slouching posture,
right, and still get a dopamine rush that's equivalent to what you got from weight training. But then weight training, you're also getting the benefits of posture. So I think it definitely supersedes cardio in that.
Thanks for tuning in. Remember, strength training isn't just about building your body. It's also about building your mind and resilience. Whether you're battling anxiety, depression, or just seeking a healthier lifestyle, every step forward counts. Stay consistent, stay positive, and don't forget, you're stronger than you think. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need it, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep moving upward.